we must read. So joining me this morning to chat about that, it is Mary Coffey, and she's an author. And the book we're going to be chatting about today is her new release, which is Dara, Miss May, and the Oil Down, which is a local children's book. So good morning and welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And congratulations on the release of your book.
Thank you so much.
So tell us a little bit about yourself before we go into the book itself. How long have you been writing books?
Actually, just 2 years. My first book is Lola and the Dancing Ladybugs. That was my first publication, and it was very enjoyable. I think that encouraged me after hearing people's comments and written comments as well.
Right.
I said, well, okay, it's going well. I actually always wanted to write, so that encouraged me a lot after my first publication.
And how did you become so passionate about the literature itself?
Well, my master's actually is in literacy, and I remember one night we were actually doing some work on stories for an assignment. And a friend of mine, Marilyn Welch, she's a Jamaican, and we sat there and we were talking about content. Local content for our countries, and we were going through these books, and I was like, okay, we need to put something together. Well, years passed and I didn't really do anything,
Right.
At the moment you really wanted to do something. But so after a while I said, okay, I've been reading for people, what about the children of TNT? What do they know about their culture?
Right.
What do they know about their heritage? Let me write some local content, and that's where I started. So my work actually is, yes, literacy, but I try to add a little music, because if you remember, I'm sure you could remember stories from when you were small, right?
Yeah, of course.
And once there's a bit of movement and singing, I think people, children are engaged that way. So
Right.
each of my books will have some movement, you'll have something to learn, something that would impact on you for life.
That is fantastic. And you said you were into literacy, and I guess that is one of the main reasons why you went into writing children's books.
Yes, for my thesis, I actually did work on read-alouds and the importance of read-alouds to children. Yes, we can, once you read to a child and, make it exciting, the child actually wants to get that book. And I think even now, that children at home is so important to actually sit and read with them. And when we talk about reading, we like to talk about brain development. But how do you really develop your vocabulary? It's through stories, because when we talk to them, of course, what words are we using? But when we start with stories, there we go, actually getting words now and bigger words for the children to use so their vocabularies expand.
That is a great method, and there's always method and science behind all these fields, and even in the sense of children's books. So let's speak about the book Dara, Miss May, and the Oil Down. Tell us about it.
Okay, so Dara is about a little girl who's very determined. She's actually obsessed with finding out about this breadfruit because she's really excited about it. But Dara is a girl. When she sets her mind to something, she's going to achieve it. So that's one of the messages in the book.
Right.
So she engaged her siblings, and, of course, they were afraid of Miss May. But, she encouraged them so much that they actually wanted to go hesitantly, but going. Dara has that kind of energy.
Right.
She is there. She could convince anybody to do anything. That's the energy Dara has. So finally, they got there. I mean, Miss May was someone most people feared. But after getting to know Miss May, they realized, hey, Miss May is a nice old lady, right? The book also gives a little snippet of patois, and I know, yes, it does. So they will actually learn to sing a little patois, just a few lines of patois. Learn to make oil dog. I know our children, breadfruit. So we're trying to change their taste buds. It's only KFC, and they would know that. So, we're trying to change the children's taste buds and encourage too that planting, doing your own kitchen garden. Yes, a breadfruit tree won't grow like in 6 months, but you will have it there and it could feed a whole family. So I think that is the whole just behind this. Actually, and another point, the scene of the book is set in Moruga.
I see.
So, yes.
You couldn't get much more local than that. The breadfruit and set in Moruga.
Exactly.
And, names like Miss May.
Right. So that I think is important for the children. So they learn about the history of the breadfruit, how it came to Trinidad, and they also learn to make oil long. And of course, by now, there are other things I told them about the breadfruit flour. We have that now.
Right.
So the children, they are learning a lot.
So you just want to make little chefs. That's what you want to do.
Yeah, and a lot of learning happens when you're learning to cook.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Now, this is not your first installment into literary works. You've done some books before, and you mentioned them. But let's go in depth a little more with the other books you've written. Name what's one of the other books you've written?
I did Lola and the Magic Sticks, and that is about the steel pan. It's an introduction to the steel pan. In the book, they're actually going to learn to play the ABC sound, and I have colored, color-coded pan that the children get to use. So it's actually very simple for preschoolers.
So why that story? Why not something else then?
I mean, it's our national instrument.
Right.
The idea is we have a rich history, and I wanted to bring it to the children in a fun and enjoyable way.
Wonderful.
So here we go. And then I also have something on the cocoa plantation.
Really?
Yes, the children learn to bake a cocoa cookie, and they actually learn about dancing the cocoa. So you're bringing the culture to the children, but in a fun and enjoyable way.
Maybe I should read that book to learn about making cocoa cookies, because I actually don't know how.
Yes, you should. You
know, so even at the ripe old age of 33, I could learn something from the books as well.
Should.
You know, as an author and as an educator, what are your thoughts on the pandemic and how it's affecting schooling right now with children?
Well, I mean, this situation is changing so much, but it's also encouraging teachers and parents to become very creative. You know, you have an opportunity now as a parent, you know, to sit with your child more time. You know, sometimes we talk about how educators teach.
Right.
We have an opportunity now to get creative, teach your child in different ways. And then, of course, we have the World Wide Web where you can learn a whole lot. But I encourage more than anything else that you read every day with your child.
And how do you, you know, as a parent at home, how do you keep it engaging and exciting for the children?
Well, I mean, firstly, I think if you sit very long with a child, it's very difficult to get them engaged. And that's one of the things we talk about school, you know, they're just sitting there. I'm thinking, add a lot of things to your, like a little music. If you want to teach them the tables, you know, you remember your tables from a long time singing it.
Yeah, that's right.
But that is critical. So try to keep it engaging with your child. It doesn't matter the subject, etc. Try to keep it engaging.
Definitely.
Yeah, movements, all those things are critical.
And with that, I want to thank you so much, Mary Coffey, author of this brand new book, Dara, Miss May, and the Oil Down. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
You're welcome.
Wonderful. So again, must-read books.
Yeah, I like the part of the oil down. I like the inclusion of the oil down. You know, what we're talking about food there.